But this is interesting. All right, so let me fill you in. We have learned that the Seahawks still have, quote, a high level of interest in acquiring Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield. Hello! Not only that, the reporting indicating that they're open to giving him a new contract. Baker is playing the fifth-year option if he does play this year. NFL insider Josina Anderson saying that Seattle is still in the process of collecting information and insight into Baker. It's like one of the great mysteries of life. So let us discuss. It's very simple. The question is thumbs up or thumbs down to the Seahawks having legitimate interest in Baker Mayfield. So I am going 2 thumbs up on this. 2 thumbs up. The obligatory Baker Mayfield Maller monologue. I've got Sherlock Holmes, Drew Carey, and Mousetrap. And we'll combine all of these things together, and we're going to make the Baba Ganoush is what we're going to make. All right, so to kick things off, the Seahawks, they have had a vacancy. They've had a vacancy at that position ever since they decommissioned Russell Wilson. Once Mr. Unlimited was unloaded to Denver, the open for business sign was flashing in front of the team facility. So that part of the story is painfully obvious. Now, despite Pete Carroll upselling Drew Lock and Geno Smith, putting lipstick on a pig, right? Come on now. That's just the ball coach turning cheerleader. That's typical Pete Carroll stuff, but most of us are like, come on. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to solve the riddle coming out of Seattle. It's one of these stories where every man, woman, and child knows that Seattle has a free space right there at the center of the bingo card when it comes to the quarterback position. And therefore, Baker Mayfield makes sense. But he doesn't make a ton of sense. I'm going 2 thumbs up here because the idea of an NFL team going with Geno Smith and Drew Lock and claiming they're trying to win games, I find hilarious. Now, furthermore, how does Seattle approach this? Let's assume the position, which we have, that they are interested in the quarterback from the Cleveland football team, not named Deshaun Watson. So how does Seattle approach the Baker Mayfield sweepstakes? Well, the answer is slow and steady. Slow and steady. Because even though they need a quarterback, it's not a high priority that it has to be this particular quarterback, because if I had my choice and I could have Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo, I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, the problem with Garoppolo is he gets hurt all the time, and he's wobbly, but Baker Mayfield's wobbly, and it seems like he's just worse. Just worse on a lot of levels. And Jimmy Garoppolo is likely going to get released by the Niners. He could stay in the division, get an opportunity to play. But we're talking about Baker Mayfield here. And so the way you approach it, if you're Seattle, you're like, not a high priority. If it happens, great. And it's like going to the store and you get a sample. You're not going to the store looking for samples unless you're like me. But if you find a sample, you're like, I'll take it. But on your terms. Pete Carroll is like Drew Carey hosting a game show. If the price is right, and it's okay, I'll like Baker Mayfield. I'll get the showcase showdown. I'll do that. And so the Seahawks here they have to be patient, and they've been very patient. They have had months to pull the trigger, and they haven't. So what are they waiting for? That's the part of the story which you can't really put that part together, because if they really wanted the player, Baker Mayfield announced back in March that he was persona non grata with the Browns, and he wanted out of there. And so then the Russell Wilson trade happened, and nothing. So Mayfield, now, would he be an improvement over Drew Lock and Geno Smith? So I'm nodding my head yes, but a slight upgrade. I don't think it's enormous. I don't believe it's enormous. Now, all that said, you don't want to get too carried away here, because you are what your record says you are, and Baker Mayfield has been FUBAR. Right? That's the quarterback. He's FUBAR. Now, he's not as FUBAR as Drew Lock was in Denver and not as terrible as Geno Smith was back in the day with the Jets. But it is fair to say that Mayfield had a hole in his ozone layer in Northern Ohio. He buckled with the Browns. Teammates, the biggest referendum on Baker Mayfield is his teammates didn't like him. The fact that one of his teammates used their father to help escape the shackles of the Browns huddle to get away from Baker Mayfield. Not only that, and then blossomed, hello, OBJ. His career was on the skids in Cleveland. He gets to La Land, and he is back on top. Not on top, but he's certainly a much better player than he was with the Browns with Baker Mayfield, and was in the Super Bowl, playing well. He got hurt. The Rams won the Super Bowl. And all of that after he forced his way out to get away from Baker Mayfield. Now, Browns ownership, they signed up. Think about this. This is another indictment on Mayfield. They chose Deshaun Watson, creepy Deshaun Watson, the alleged predator who just pulled out his checkbook and wrote giant cartoon-sized checks to 20 of the women accusing him of being a pervert. He paid them off. And then the Browns ownership was like, well, we need an adult in the room. And that's the guy they picked. Hello? All right, parting shot. Would Baker Mayfield want to play in Seattle? So this is another one of those things where it takes two to tango. We know that. Take two to do the tango. But regardless of that, Baker Mayfield has very little leverage. If his plan is to stay in that business, he has very little leverage. If he wants to sniff the field as a regular starter, there are only a couple of teams he can go to, and this is the top option if you want to be on a team, play, and have a chance of being decent. Because Carolina's, come on, forget about it. The other option that Mayfield has is to play the waiting game and wait for one of the other starting quarterbacks to get hurt. There are rumors that Jameis Winston, for example, in the Bayou, is not fully healthy, and there are concerns that the Saints might have a problem there at the quarterback position. Obviously, that's the case. They would have a problem there. So you have to play the cards you're dealt, and at this point in the poker game, Baker Mayfield, his options are limited, and he's wherever he goes, whether it's Seattle, Carolina, you name it, he's got to build a better mousetrap and acknowledge that whatever he was doing in the locker room wasn't working because guys were running away from the Browns to get away from Baker Mayfield. So do better, be better. Now, the NFC West, a month before training camp, is a solid division. The Rams are rocking and rolling right now, the reigning champs. They're at the very top of the pyramid of power. The 49ers have a good infrastructure, but they've got a loose cannon, a wild card at the quarterback position in Trey Lance. Cardinals, they're not even really trying with alligator arms. The worst playoff game I've ever seen in my life, alligator arms Murray against the Rams. What an embarrassment. Alligator arms Murray fades like photographs as the season goes on. So then you have the Seahawks. The Seahawks are a middling team, but they do have a couple of legit pass catchers in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And it would be similar, if Baker Mayfield went to Seattle, it would be similar to Cleveland. The Browns ran early and often and mixed in the pass. That's the way Pete Carroll likes to play. Not a pass team, rather a run team. But with a decent quarterback and a few things going their way, then Seattle, the ceiling for them would be like 10-7. And that's 10-7 likely gets you in the playoffs. But there's a lot of things that have to go right to get to 10-7. But that's where we are with Baker Mayfield at this point in the story.